Hello everyone, I know it's been a while and I promised that I would keep a weekly upload schedule, which I have not kept ever, I don't think I've ever really been consistent with my uploads. And this time I have a genuine reason for that. So last week I left off with talking about that the next week's video would be about increasing your knowledge base. However, I got kind of bored of just essentially vlogging into a camera and sitting down talking with very minimal visual interest, so I wanted to do something different, and so I've been experimenting with a new editing style, and it's been taking a while to put that video together, especially with the issues of life also getting in the way and all of that. So combining that with the amount of work I have to put into this video compared to just this style of video, it's been taking a while. But either way, I figured I'd put a video up in between the producing of the other video that I'm working on. So this is just going to be a little quick video. We're going to go over some training exercises for observation, deductive skills, and memory. So with that being said, welcome to Things to Look For, and it's been a while since I've done a Things to Look For video. I think last time I did it I had like 30 subscribers. So for those of you who don't know what Things to Look For is, that's a show where we go over the common yet commonly overlooked things in the world that usually passes by in our day-to-day life, and generally what they mean, so as to give you an idea of what to look for when you're walking around in day-to-day life. So with that, we're going to be talking about a couple of training exercises, 3 in fact, that might aid you in developing not only your skills but also giving you an idea of what to look for.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You're talking way too fast. Wait.
So the first exercise we're going to be talking about pertains to observation. Now, observation is pretty much the cornerstone of deduction, as we've talked about many times, and I've talked about at length different aspects of observation and how you can improve it. But here's a more practical exercise that you can do pretty much anywhere, even if you don't have access to people, because this directly pertains to people. But so the idea is that, alright, well, let me just give you an example. What's the color of the shirt I'm wearing right now? Did you remember? Were you paying attention to that? Alright, so think for a moment, maybe I caught you off guard. Think for a moment back earlier in the day. Think to the people that you've seen, interacted with, all that during the day. What were the clothes that they were wearing? Even just the color. If you can get the color right, then that's okay. If you can figure out, if you can picture in detail what those clothes were, that's even better. Yes? No? Let me know in the comments down below if you remember, if you were keen enough to notice the color of the clothes. Now, if you watched Observe's channel, which I know many of you have, he's talked about this exercise before, and I've heard it from different areas, from different places, not just him, but different books I've read and all that. And it is a very good exercise, because it deals with something very simple, just the clothes that somebody's wearing. And you start to realize just how difficult it is and how often that slips by you, how often that just passes you by and you don't even notice the clothes that people are wearing. So it gives you a little bit of perspective of where you are in your observational skills, and it also gives you a great and easy way to train those observational skills. Now, you can pretty much do this anytime, even if you're not out and about or interacting with people. You can do this by watching videos on the internet. Now, we've talked before about the influence technology and modern media has on the brain and how it's distracting, it divides our attention, and all that. However, this is not to say that it doesn't have its usefulness. I would say that technology is a fantastic. The technology that we have today is a fantastic thing. You can do so much with it. It's just the way that we choose to use it that I have a problem with, and that our brains have a problem with. Now, if you use it for constructive ways that help train your memory, your observation, your deduction, that's great. If you watch YouTube a lot, then try and notice the clothes of the people in YouTube videos. Now, if there are a lot of people in the videos, then even more training. Now, if it's just like a video like this where there's only one person in it, okay, just watch a lot of those, I guess. But so that way, the experience of watching videos is not completely useless or completely just a waste of your time, or simply for entertainment. And entertainment has its place. It's not completely bad. It's just oversaturation of entertainment is not constructive. And so just take that with a grain of salt. Now, we'll be talking about that more in the video that I'm working on currently, but for now, that's the simple training exercise. Just memorize the clothes, the colors, the styles of the people that you interact with or see on a day-to-day basis. The next exercise that we are going to be talking about particularly pertains to your inference, conjecture, and deductive skills. Now, if you're like most people, there are surfaces and areas of the place that you work or live that tend to get cluttered. This is a normal thing that happens. Desks get cluttered, tables get cluttered, rooms get cluttered, and they all generally look messy. Well, to many of us, this is probably an annoyance and not all that pleasant to look at. Some of us are more tolerant of clutter than others. Now, you can still use this to your advantage, however. It just depends on how you look at it. So, when things are placed down on a table or placed in a room or what have you, they're placed there for a reason. That reason could simply be out of convenience, which would tend to be a mindless action. So, for instance, a person walks in through the kitchen of their house and mindlessly places down their keys out of convenience, because that is the closest surface that they can place their keys down on. Or something could be placed for convenience but tactfully. So if you see a backpack placed right next to the front door, then they probably have all their stuff together and are ready to go to school or whatever the next day. And the bag is placed there tactfully for convenience sake. Now, this translates into the clutter that accumulates on a desk, or on a table, or in a room. So, the way you go about implementing this training exercise is consider it a social experiment. So, if you live with people, then this is going to be pretty easy, or if you don't live with people, then try this at your place of work. Now, find a surface. Coffee table is probably the best, just because, in my experience, it has the most activity going on with it. So, at the beginning of your day, just clear off all the clutter from the coffee table. Just clear it all off. And throughout the day, look back at the coffee table, see what's changed, what objects have been placed on there, and then it is your job to deduce who placed them there, why they placed them there, and what were they doing. And you can determine this based on the object itself, the placement of the object, the time of the object that the object was placed there, the people that have been sitting at the coffee table, or all those factors come into play, and you combine those and all the evidence that you see and have accumulated and make a deduction. Now, these are fairly elementary deductions. By that I mean they're not super complex. So if you see a remote on the coffee table, then someone was probably watching TV or playing video games. If you see a bowl or a glass sitting on the coffee table, then someone might have been eating or drinking some water. Now, if you see a book, someone might have been reading on the couch and placed the book down there so that they could come back to it later. If you see it, especially the book is like open and set face down on the coffee table, then someone has probably just left and is going to be coming back pretty soon, or at least thought that was going to be the case. These are fairly elementary deductions. They don't really take too much thought, but it gets you in the habit of thinking about things in that way, which is why it is such an effective training method.